Constitutional rights within disaster policies. It is important for federal, state, and local governments to be conscious of how rights guaranteed in the Constitution affect the planning and implication of disaster policies. This presentation will discuss relevant constitutional amendments that must be considered when developing disaster policies, the definition as well as legal basis for martial law, and relevant constitutional issues during Hurricane Katrina as well as their causes and lasting effects. The United States Constitution defines the government, describes how it is organized, and specifies what powers the government can and cannot exercise. The first 10 amendments within the Constitution are called the Bill of Rights. These amendments provide a basis for civil liberty and must be considered when creating and implementing any disaster response policies. During extraordinary circumstances such as a severe natural disaster, many of these constitutional rights can be suspended with the issuance of martial law. The First Amendment may very well be the most well-known of all the amendments. It provides every citizen freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, as well as the right to peacefully assemble. This amendment is important because it allows individuals the right to express their concerns, their needs, and any thoughts of criticism during a disaster. The amendment also gives the press a right to document disaster freely without any government influence. The Second Amendment provides a right to bear arms. The right to bear arms is a controversial issue due to the perplexity for violence and crime during disasters. The amendment provides citizens with the right to bear arms to protect themselves, but does not necessarily provide the legal right to kill a person who stole television yet threatened no harm. Disaster policymakers must acknowledge a portion of the affected population may be armed. The Fifth Amendment includes the right to due process as well as compensation for use of private property. The Fifth Amendment allows the government to use private property during a natural disaster, but dictates there must be compensation. A well-known example of this is the use of the Superdome in New Orleans as a shelter during Hurricane Katrina. The Sixth Amendment provides a right to a fair and public trial, as well as the importance of keeping the criminal justice system operational during disasters. Even during a severe natural disaster like seen in Hurricane Katrina, it is crucial that local governments keep the court system, jails, and bond system operational. The Eighth Amendment prevents cruel and unusual punishment. It applies to the states as well as federal government. During Hurricane Katrina, there was accusations of looters being shot by the police. This type of police response could certainly be considered cruel and unusual punishment, as well as a violation of the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. The Tenth Amendment states that the federal government is limited to only the powers provided in the Constitution. It addresses state rights and state sovereignty and provides a basis of the bottom-up approach used in disaster policies. This amendment allows state governments to analyze the needs of the citizens during disaster and is used to request federal aid. During the bottom-up approach used in disaster policies, local and state governments decide what kind of aid is needed and determine the areas in which it is allocated. The 14th Amendment provides equal protection, as well as the importance of providing equal aid to all affected by disaster.
11 civilians
The amendment is a basis of civil rights during a disaster. It prevents one party, regardless of race, ethnicity, or religion, from being denied
as
aid
rumors
or provided
circulated about a declaration of martial law.
Before discussing martial law, we will first see an example of the obvious confusion observed in the local state governments during Hurricane Katrina and how this led to chaos amongst law enforcement.
I never declared martial law.
Chaotic days after Hurricane Katrina.
People were shot and killed by the New Orleans Police Department.
11 civilians were shot by New Orleans police officers.
Looting and other lawlessness will not be tolerated.
As rumors circulated about a declaration of martial law.
I've already called for martial law in the city of New Orleans.
I heard rumors that martial law was in place, and then I heard rumors that no, it was not.
I never declared martial law.
Police believe
martial
they
law
could
is a
suspend
designation
their
of
own
military
rules.
rule by
Does he
military
expect
authorities
us
over
to
designated
rank and
regions
file
on
go through the
emergency
streets? You know,
Usually
shooting
imposed when
looters.
local authorities fail to
New
function
evidence
effectively.
shows that an order was
They
given
can't suspend
authorizing
constitutional rights
officers
such
to
as freedom
shoot
to assemble
looters.
and the right to speak.
One of the most troubled
As seen
police
in the video, the
departments
mayor of
in the
New
history
Orleans
of
was
North
documented
America.
stating he issued martial law, a power in which he is not afforded by the Constitution. The Louisiana governor never imposed martial law, yet the New Orleans Police Department's assistant chief advised he heard rumors of martial law, but did not know if it was in fact enacted. The widespread confusion is evident, but it also appears that many within the government were confused not by just status of martial law within New Orleans, but also by its definition and implication.
Police believe they could suspend their own rules.
Does he expect us to rank and file go through the streets? shooting looters.
New evidence shows that an order was given authorizing officers to shoot looters.
One of the most troubled police departments in the history of North America.
As you can see, it appears an order may have been given to members of New Orleans Police Department to shoot looters. Hurricane Katrina brought on a widespread chaos seen very few times in an American city. Communication within members of government as well as inside the police department was greatly affected and exaggerated the task of saving a city. Although I cannot show in the presentation the full movie, there was widespread rumors of the police officers being killed as well as rumors of horrible acts such as rape throughout the city. The mixture of devastation of Hurricane Katrina, the lack of effective disaster planning, and the confusion that resulted, history now tells us there was a great need to take back a city that was dying from the inside. There was at least 11 citizens killed by New Orleans police officers. 5 former officers convicted of federal civil rights violations in the shootings and ensuing cover-up of an incident on the Danziger Bridge. A federal judge sentenced 4 of them to prison terms ranging from 38 to 65 years. The 5th got 6 years behind bars. Please allow my presentation to not only be a lesson in constitutional rights and disaster policies, but a reminder of how our own lack of preparation and lapses in ethical behavior can lead to disasters of their own.